Hey, thanks for checking out the CLT Life. If you like the content we're creating, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. Thanks so much for your support. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CLT Life. Myself and Wals today, we're hanging out at Carolina Ale House in Waverly, located in South Charlotte. So if you've never been here before, it's right off of 45 on Providence Road. It's a cool little shopping center over here. They got all kinds of places to eat, a few places to get some drinks and stuff. So we're out here today getting some lunch. Semifinals of the World Cup are in the background.
France and Morocco.
France and Morocco.
France is already up 1-0.
Yeah, it didn't take too long. Morocco is pretty much like the Cinderella story in this
They are, for sure.
It's the first African country to ever make the semifinals. First Arabic country, I think, and they're in Qatar, which is an Arabic nation. So they got a big fan base. But I mean, France is like they're the defending champs.
Right, and you know, I would wonder what the odds are for France-Argentina. I would say France is probably favored.
Yeah.
But not by much.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a classic game, I think, with Lionel Messi coming down. He's 35 years old.
One of his last, if not the last, World Cup.
Yeah, and he has 5 goals, same as Mbappe for France, who's like 23 years old. So it would kind of be symbolic if it was sort of like a changing of the guard.
True, and also, they're battling for the golden boot, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, with the 5 goals each right now. Do they share a golden boot? Is that possible? What will they do? Like if they end up with the same number of goals?
They may give it to both of them.
Yeah.
Soccer likes ties.
Yeah, that's true. Soccer does like ties. It might make them do a shootout.
Yeah, a golden boot out.
Yeah, golden boot out. So, what we're going into NFL season, going into week 15, I guess, because Panthers have had one bye week. They played 13 games, so this will be their 14th game of the season. Hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are struggling, and they're back to their starting quarterback. Kenny Pickett got hurt.
Right, so they're back to Trubisky.
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky. I was struggling on his name. It was like the former Tar Heel quarterback. Yeah, so they're back to Trubisky again. So it's a game at home where Carolina has an opportunity to protect the bank, as Steve Wilkes likes to say, and they have a chance to really make a serious push towards making the playoffs.
Right, and these teams are going to want to play a similar style of football. The Steelers are going to want to run Najee, Paris, and the Panthers are going to want to run Foreman and Hubbard. And the Steelers also have Benny Snell, who's a really good change of pace sort of backup running back. Really good. Could probably be a starter in some teams in the right situation. So, both teams are going to want to run the ball. Both teams are going to want to try to protect their quarterbacks and limit turnovers and play good defense. So, I think it could be a really good game, and it will probably be a close game unless for some reason one team just comes out without any fight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Pittsburgh doesn't really have a chance to make the playoffs. So, are they going to fold? Or are they playing for pride right now? They still have T.J. Watt still out there playing. Or are they playing for pride? They never had a losing record under Mike Tomlin.
Right. It's a Mike Tomlin coach team. I don't see them giving up per se. But you never know. You never know how guys are feeling. And look, if you get to Trubisky, he'll throw interceptions.
Yeah. Turned it over 3 times last week. 3
turnovers. So if you put some pressure on Trubisky, Brains and Haynes and those guys.
Yeah.
If they can get to him, I think they can turn the ball over. And that was the key to success last week against Seattle. And we got off to a good start. We got a turnover early and scored.
Yeah, I mean, first defensive play of the game, J.C. Horn had an interception. He could have scored, really. I think he slipped on a cutback. And then we came out and first offensive play after that interception was a touchdown pass to Shi Smith, his first touchdown of the year. Panthers really got off to a hot start at the beginning of the game last week at Seattle, got off to a 17-0 lead.
Right. You had to hold on.
Had to hold on, yeah. So we started strong, we finished strong. The middle part was a little suspect. And then, what do you think about the decision when they were down at that third quarter drive when they went for it on 4 straight plays? I agreed with going for it on 4th down the first time.
Yeah, the first time.
I was like, you got to go for it. The second time,
kick a field goal.
Yeah, kick a field goal. The play calling was a little suspect, trying to run it every time.
Right.
Then when you had 3 straight incompletions, nothing gave you any indication that they were going to score on the next play. Yeah.
So definitely thought they should have kicked it to second, 4th.
Yeah, they passed up 3 points right there.
But they then came back and put together a drive, 4 touchdowns. So I was impressed.
Well, it's kind of like they learned from that.
Right.
So, they had 19 more plays after that drive, and they ran on 17 out of 19 plays.
Yeah, for sure.
And you knew every play, like they were going to get extra yardage every time.
Yeah, our offensive line deserves a lot of credit. Those guys have been a solid unit, and coming into this season, they were a perceived weakness, and it's turned into a strength, and it's given us an identity. So, kudos to the offensive line. And as much as McAdoo has kind of been much maligned.
Right. It's hard to say. Much maligned McAdoo.
Much maligned McAdoo. But seriously, as much as we questioned some of his decisions and the scheme and whatnot, he leaned on the run when it mattered, and they got the job done. So, I appreciate what they're trying to build. And whether or not McAdoo's the guy for the job long term, he's well respected. But, I like what they're trying to build. I just feels like there may need to be a little bit more creativity.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you get there. I don't know if he's the guy to do that. But.
So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the Panthers in terms of their identity right now. So they're a physical team. They're a ground and pound team. Last year the line was definitely a weakness, and this year there's a big overhaul. He brought in a new center, got Bradley Bozeman, which initially was Pat Elflein. I always felt Bozeman was going to be the guy anyway, to be the starter.
Yeah, we're talking about that. I thought Elflein was the guy.
So Bozeman is center now. You got Aquanu and is Moten's the right tackle, right? Mm-hmm. And then Bradley Christensen is playing well. Huh?
Brady,
my bad. Brady Christensen. He's playing well at the one guard. And who did I leave out?
What did you say? Bozeman, Christensen, Aquanu.
The right guard. Anyway. Well, he must be doing all right too. But the point of the story is that this unit has become a strength,
right,
especially in the run game. And when you bring in a guy like Dante Foreman, who's got size, and now Chuba's got decent size too, and now Chuba's having his best year, his best stretch recently, and even Blackshear, the undrafted rookie running back from Virginia Tech.
They're opening holes for everybody.
Yeah, it was like it didn't matter who got the ball; you knew they were getting yards.
Yeah.
So
I think right now that is our identity. You're right. So we're going to continue to run the ball. Steve Wilkes has said that's what he wants the identity to be, and so McAdoo. I think everybody's on the same page, which really goes a long way. The continuity when you're trying to build an offense, and people wonder why you can take away a player as good as McCaffrey and play better. But I think you have to build your offense up to using a weapon like McCaffrey frequently, right? Like you have to build your offense up to a point where you can throw in wrinkles that uses his dynamic ability. And we weren't there yet. The 49ers are closer, right?
The 49ers have Deebo Samuel.
Right. And they've had the same, they've had continuity. Garoppolo, even though they wanted to switch to Trey Lance, Garoppolo's been the guy. Right?
So he got hurt.
Until he got hurt. But he had chemistry with the line and the receivers and the coaches, too. So everybody was sort of familiar. So that was a situation where you can plug and play a guy with McCaffrey. We've had no continuity on our offensive line. We just lost our head coach.
Yeah.
You know, right? Our wide receivers, we got rid of Robbie Anderson. We're trying to figure out who is who in our wide receiving corps.
McCaffrey was putting up numbers this season. He was playing well for Carolina.
He was putting up numbers, but how we should use him in terms of the overall scheme of the offense, I think that was difficult for everybody to understand, because when you're constantly trying to feed McCaffrey, then sometimes other guys get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was perceived, and maybe rightly so, he was perceived as our top player, top offensive player, our best weapon. But I think we started to have an over-reliance on it.
Right.
So instead of, it was like how many times, I mean, in recent years, first couple of years, he got the ball probably like 30 times a game, it seemed like.
Right.
And then the last 2 seasons, he got hurt. So finally this year, he hasn't been getting hurt. He's been able to stay healthy throughout the season. But when you're just force-feeding the same guy the ball, like, you might hand it off to him, you might throw it to him, but the play is still going to him. Now there's a little more uncertainty in the defense. And then when we are running the ball and they know it, and we get into the fourth quarter and we've worn the other team down, it doesn't matter. We got size and physicality, and it's playing tough physical football.
And that's you know, the proper way to build a football team, even in today's climate.
Yeah.
If you can
everybody thinks it's throw the ball first, but
run the ball first and not turn it over, and then play good defense.
Yeah.
That's the formula to win.
We know the most impressive stat the past 2 weeks might be time of possession.
Yes.
Against the Broncos, we had the ball like 3/4 of the game. Was it 43 minutes or 47 minutes? I have to look at the stats. But it was something ridiculous. Like basically 3/4 of the game, we had the ball, and then this past week we had it 2/3 of the game. I believe we had the ball around 40 minutes against Seattle, in Seattle. So I mean that was impressive.
Seattle has been a good team this year.
Yeah, they have been. Geno Smith's been top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Essentially.
Yeah, I mean, up until he didn't have a multiple interception game until this one.
Because he played us.
When he had 2, could have been 3, could have been 4. You know, J.C. Horn caught 3 of his passes. He only got his feet in bounds on 1.
And the last one was so close.
Oh yeah.
I felt like maybe he did, and I wasn't sure.
But that was a toe drag.
Right.
That was like a wide receiver caliber toe drag. He just didn't quite get. I think one toe, his big toe, touched the line.
And so we probably should acknowledge that Horn was a good pick.
Oh yeah.
Even in the first round, even with Justin Fields on the board, Horn was a good pick.
Yeah.
You know, if you do it over, do you do it differently? Maybe. Because quarterback's the most important position.
Yeah.
But if Horn is healthy, he's a very, very good player, and he can change a game.
I was starting to think that if they were going to go cornerback, that Patrick Surtain was having a better start. And they went back-to-back. So we picked Warren, I think, number 8, and then the Broncos took Surtain, number 9. And both have NFL pedigrees. Both have dads who played, in the NFL. They're standout players as well. But, J.C. Horn, man, I love a big, physical, shutdown cornerback. It seems like the Panthers have had a good number of those come through. And we always trade him away. So Josh Norman, he was playing really well. We traded him away. Granted, he never did quite as well away from Carolina as he did in 2015.
The scheme was really good.
Yeah. He only had to play on one side of the field.
Right.
Then James Bradbury, though, he went to the Giants, now he's on the Eagles, and he's one of the top cornerbacks in the NFL.
Right, he's solid. But again, he feels more like a scheme guy, like Josh Norman.
Bradbury does too?
He does. Horn, I feel like you can put him on anybody anytime. And he can hold his own.
Oh, he had to match up on DK Metcalf.
For sure.
I mean, that's one of the top, and he didn't back down.
No.
He had an interception against him. Metcalf had, I can't remember, like one catch against, one big catch he had against Horn, but otherwise he did a good job.
Yeah, Horn has been phenomenal as of late. And so, defense sort of, we know what to expect from the defense, and I like that. I like that we can know what to expect. They're going to get after the quarterback. Brian Burns, Haynes, Gus Matos even, Derek Brown.
Burns even had kind of a quiet game last week. He had a half sack, but
our secondary is good.
Yeah.
Jeremy Chin, Shaq Thompson,
I love having Jeremy Chin back. He's one of my favorite players.
And he makes his presence known on the field as well.
Yeah, he's all over the place.
Right. As a safety should be.
Yeah, and it's like you don't know if he's playing safeties, he's playing linebacker.
Right.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who's everywhere, all over the field.
Yeah, he's not there yet, but he sort of reminds you of Polamalu and Ed Reed in the way that he can cover the field and be involved in so many plays.
Yeah.
But I think the team needs to grow in order for him to grow into that caliber of player. But all in all, we feel like a team that can win games. Now we're at the point where, okay, as a team we can win games. What about when we need the quarterback to win games?
Right.
Is Sam Darnold going to do that this year? Is he going to win a game with his arm or his legs?
Yeah. So Sam Darnold's taking care of the ball in his first 2 games. Remember last year he won his first 2 games too. But he's taking care of the ball. He's not throwing interceptions. That one play where he threw it to Terrace Marshall, where he caught it between his legs, I don't know how he got that ball in there. And that was a risky throw.
It was very risky.
And
that's part of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to have that gunslinger mentality as a pro quarterback, have the confidence that you can fit it into tight windows. You just don't want to make stupid bonehead throws where you're just throwing the ball directly to the opponent. So he's doing better from that perspective. I think having a better line behind him, and maybe it's his own maturity as well, but he's clearly not seeing ghosts out there.
No, he has more confidence.
Yeah.
In the line and in his own ability. He's playing within himself. He knows what he can do. And look, he's a good athlete. Yeah. He's a big guy.
He had a big run.
Big run, good athlete. He's got good wheels, strong arm. So, from that perspective, Darnold can be a decent quarterback, right? Like, we've seen enough good play from him to know he can be a decent quarterback.
He's not the long-term answer.
He's not the long-term answer, but you can develop a young quarterback behind him.
I agree.
I think he can.
I think he's gotten to the point, what he's shown in the past couple of games is that he can manage a game.
Right.
Remember Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens about 20 years ago. He was no more than a game manager.
He was. Maybe not even more talented than Sam Darnold.
Yeah, but Darnold has the talent. A lot of that thing is between his ears.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. I was going to say, Dilfer may have had the mind.
Yeah.
Dilfer had the mental aspect down. He was tough. And even Roethlisberger, when the Steelers won
his first Super Bowl,
they almost won in spite of him.
Yeah, he was not the passer that he ended up being.
No.
I mean, he ended up being one of the top passers in the league, and that's going to get him eventually into the Hall of Fame. But that first Super Bowl, it was a defensive. And Jerome Bettis and
the Bus and Harrison and those guys sort of carried the day.
Yeah.
So it can be done, and that's the point. We're building a program, and I like that.
Yeah.
That leads me to the next thought, which is Steve Brooks should probably be the coach next year.
I agree.
Because otherwise, you're taking a step backwards.
Does it make you think that maybe, Rule did not do a good job as a coach. Rule was not winning games. As far as building the foundation of the team, should we give him some credit? I mean, that first draft when he went all defense, they drafted some key players. Did he create a team that was a good team, and then you just need somebody else to lead it? We're winning games now, and this is the team that Rule built.
Well, and it's a really thin line between winning games and losing games in the NFL because all these guys are really good. It's not like our players are so much worse than any other team, obviously. Our players aren't worse than other teams' players. You have to put them in the right position.
Right.
They have to have the right morale, right? And you need a quarterback.
Right.
And so, essentially, the morale is good. Guys we've got a system that seems to be working for people to do what they're good at. And calling the right plays at the right time, that sort of situation. Like the pass to Shy Smith right after the turnover, right? That was a great play. You got Smith in space. You had guys at different levels, and Donald and Smith executed. And that was an easy pass, but we've seen guys not make those passes or overthrow or throw it in the ground and just somehow mess it up and not catch those balls. So everything was clicking.
What about DJ Moore not having to catch this game?
Yeah, that's tough, and that it's just sort of the byproduct of us not being on that level offensively, where everybody's going to get multiple touches a game.
That's where I think Sam Darnold's not the permanent answer at quarterback, but I think right now, for the right price, I think he could be a good bridge quarterback. I think we still don't know what we have in Matt Corral, and we'll find that out hopefully at OTAs, training camp, maybe during the season next year. And then if we end up getting a quarterback, high in the draft, it's somebody that's going to be a prospect that it's going to be expected to play, right? But having a veteran quarterback who you can hand the ball to at least at the start of the season, I think is definitely a benefit. I miss those days when even the top pick had half the season at least to sit back and wait and watch. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had to wait 3 years before he got to play at Green Bay. That's a little overdone.
Mahomes waited 3 years.
Yeah, that's right. Alex Smith, right? Yeah. So, I mean, any guy coming from college going into the NFL, it's just a different game. It's a totally different speed. So, they're not gonna be fully up to speed as a veteran would be.
Right. And look, if you can get Donald back, because he'll be an unrestricted free agent after this year, his contract's done. If you can get him back on a team-friendly contract.
Right. That's what I'm saying, for the right price.
Right, for the right price. And you have Matt Corral sort of, trying to get up to speed, fully healthy, and mentally back into competition, for that matters. And then you draft the quarterback, and then you've got 3 inexpensive options to evaluate with the foundation of a good team. I think I'd be willing to work with that next year. So, yeah, I'm still drafting the quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm still drafting the quarterback. And I like...
Even if we're out of the top 10, do you think we have to trade up? And you go for a guy like Hendon Hooker?
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony Richardson. Why not? One of those guys is going to be good.
Yeah.
One of those guys is going to be good.
Yeah, I like Hooker, and Hooker obviously tore his ACL, so he's probably not going to be able to play for you next year, depending on how quickly he recovers. But Hooker has that look of a pro quarterback. Granted, I think we're good. Are you good right now? So Hooker was looking great until he got hurt earlier this year. He's an older guy too in terms of being 25. He's 25 right now. Yeah. So he's in that same age group as some of our core players already.
Right.
Anthony Richardson's a little bit younger.
Yeah.
A little more raw. Has the skills, has the physical ability. You just don't know yet. And I haven't watched enough. I've heard that when he looks great, he looks great.
He looks really good.
When he looks bad, he looks really bad.
Right.
And I don't know if that's just decision making or.
But if you're excited about Justin Fields, you got to be excited about Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Well,
Justin Fields is the best athlete on the field every time he plays.
Right, and Anthony Richardson will be as well. I mean, he's like Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson in one player. He's dynamic, and he can change a game, and so he's going to have some 100-yard rushing games as well. And he's going to break some long runs, and and he's got a cannon. He's got all the tools you need.
Yeah. So we got.
We'll have to see what it does, in terms of the pro speed of the game and getting pro defenses and whatnot. But he's got the natural ability to do it.
So I've got I made some Carolina Panthers schedules earlier this year, and I did it on two sides. So I got the first 9 games on the front, last 8 games of the bye week on the back. And I was looking at it this morning, and on the front side, there's a whole lot of L's on there. And maybe like 3 W's, there's 2 W's. Yeah, 2. I guess we were like 2 and 6, 2 and 7, something like that. On the backside, we're 3 and 1.
Right.
Yeah. And I was looking at Wilkes to start. So we were 1 and 4 under Rule. Then we were 1 and 3 under Wilkes. And we were competitive, and you could see that we should have beaten Atlanta. We should have been 2 and 2 in that first 4 games. And now 3 and 1. Is it possible that if we go 4-0 in the last 4? We got Pittsburgh, Detroit, who's one of the hottest teams in the league, and we got the Bucs, who are really struggling, and we got the Saints, and we've already beaten the Bucs and the Saints.
Yeah.
I think we have to win all of them. Hey, do we have to win all of them to make the playoffs? Could we make the playoffs and lose the record again this year?
I don't know the mathematics, the probability.
Lose Detroit, right?
But what I will say is, it's possible we win all 4 games. It's probably not probable, right? It's probably just
probably have one down game.
One down game, an injury, anything. Who knows? Who knows? It's just too much uncertainty to say for sure, we zip through 4 games. But if we play our best and everybody's healthy, we have a chance to win all of those games.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's a good feeling. No matter where you think about the draft or whatnot, it's a good feeling to feel like your team can go into a game with an opportunity to win the game, and that your team is still in the playoff hunt.
Right.
After such a poor start and firing the coach.
It's crazy. You have to be in the worst division in the NFL.
And that happened for us.
It's happened before too. We made the playoffs with a losing record before.
But look,
7-8-1.
But look, the Falcons have been to a Super Bowl recently. The Bucs have won Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Saints went, yeah.
The Saints,
and that Drew Brees
have been to the Super Bowl, and
we've had success in this division.
Oh yeah, and the Panthers also have been
2015
in this decade. Which sounds weird to say that it's
This is 2020.
Well, not, but in the last 10 years.
Yeah. About 7 years ago.
Yeah. So, it's just because it's a down season for the division doesn't mean that it's a terrible division overall, and that it's not the foundation of some really good teams. So we should be proud of whatever we do, whatever we accomplish moving forward, because it's hard to win games in the NFL.
Yeah, I think we're moving in the right direction. Like last season, and then at the beginning of this season, it was hard to get excited to watch Carolina because you just didn't have the confidence.
Right.
Now it's like it's a completely different identity, completely different.
Well, and that's what having an identity will do for you.
Exactly.
It'll give you confidence in who you are.
Yeah.
And that's outside of football. That's in life.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a life lesson. Having an identity will give you confidence to go out into the world and be who you are unapologetically, and that's kind of what the Panthers are doing right now.
So some people are listening for sports, but if you just need a little motivation,
right.
pep talk, we can go into that too.
Right.
Well, speaking of identities, we've been talking about the Panthers a lot. What about the Charlotte Hornets right now? I was looking on ESPN their power rankings the other day, and I was seeing where the Hornets are going to be. I kept scrolling, all the way to the bottom, number 30.
Wow. So
we were in the Victor Wembanyama watch.
Right.
Along with San Antonio and who else is down there, but yeah, man. I mean, the season.
Orlando.
The season is just. We started off 3-3, and we've had injuries. Obviously, Miles Bridges not playing this year. LaMelo Ball, which they say he might be able to come back tonight against Detroit, possibly. He's been out for a long time. Gordon Hayward's been out. We just had. All of our best players have missed time. And Rozier, yeah. So
I think that's too much instability to really be a good team. You know, like to really be a competitive, truly, they can be competitive, but to be a truly good team with any aspirations, you need way more consistency, just like the Panthers, consistency and continuity. And they don't have it. And LaMelo may come back tonight. Detroit, their star players, second-year player, Cade Cunningham, is out for the season. He's going to have surgery on his shin, I believe, so he'll be out for the season. And, you know, so we can maybe beat Detroit. And we played some teams where I think we gave up 50 points to Joel Embiid the other night. We're still getting blasted by Simmons on occasion. But the bigger picture is we'll probably get a very high draft pick.
He called it at the beginning of the season.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize it. I guess I wasn't following.
Oh man, definitely in the Wembanyama sweepstakes.
Yeah,
and he's different.
Yeah,
he's different. He'll change the franchise, and so you know we'll see how it ends up. And there's some other good players, you know, prospectively in this draft. So one way or another, we'll have a good draft pick. Maybe we'll be able to make some personnel moves. Miles Bridges' situation will sort of get cleared up.
Either we'll get him for cheap, or he'll be gone.
Or he'll be gone.
One of the two.
And you know, somebody's gonna sign him at some point.
Yeah, he'll be back in the league.
We'll have his rights, and we'll have the first dibs on him. And so, yeah, I mean, I just think, you know, this year it's another lost season.
Yeah.
But it does set us up potentially for the opportunity to sort of assemble some talent really quickly in the next year or maybe 2 years and see what we can do, you know, with some good young talent.
Yeah, I mean, I was really starting to feel like Charlotte was becoming the worst professional sports city in America. And I mean, we're probably still up there with Detroit and Cleveland. The Cavaliers are playing really good. Traded for Donovan Mitchell. They're one of the top teams in the East. But I do have some optimism around the Panthers now. That we can find a way to be a solid team again.
Right. Even if we don't win every game, or even if we don't quite make it to the Super Bowl, look, if we're in the playoffs.
Teams do.
You know, only 2 do.
Right.
So everybody else is at home with us.
Pretty much.
So if we can sort of find a way to be in playoff contention, and if we can just build a system, a program where the expectation is greatness, that would feel really good as a fan.
So you're saying you want to be the Dallas Cowboys?
Do they expect greatness? They expect greatness.
The fans do.
The fans do. They don't attain it year in, year out anymore.
It's funny, they were looking like the best team, I thought, just a couple weeks ago, and they struggled against the Texans last week.
Yeah, but the Texans played Philly on Monday Night Football. They played Philly really, really well in the first half.
Yeah.
You know, I remember that game vividly. But I think because I had fantasy players in that game, so I was watching a little more intently. Right. What we're saying is, any given Sunday or Monday or Thursday or Saturday this week.
That's right. 3 games this week.
Any team can give another team a good run, and so there's so many factors in play. So I'm not surprised when a team doesn't have a great record gives a team with a good record a good game. But you still expect better teams to win, and winners win.
Yeah. Well, that's
what it comes down to.
Like you said earlier, everybody's good.
Everybody's good.
Everybody in the NFL is good. Everybody was great college players.
Great.
And you had to be.
None of them were average.
None of them were average. You had to be great to.
You had to be great to make it to that point. So, yeah.
So, I think we're getting close on time right now. So, any parting thoughts, parting words?
These are the good days.
These are the good days.
My album's still streaming.
That's right.
These are the good days.
Yeah.
Good days. These are the good days.
And you've been, that's right, you're back in the studio again
always
this
in the
week.
Studio. Always in the studio.
Recording, doing new stuff.
This is a rolling, not a stopwatch.
Yeah, I've been, and I downloaded your album on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to it. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's probably even better on, the streaming platforms where it kind of flows a little easier. But
Might be like my gateway guy. I'm listening to Nas.
there you go.
New album.
There you go.
Dropped recently.
Look, I mean, you know,
Gateway back into hip hop.
Music is good. Music is good music.
Yeah.
Man.
Storytelling.
Storytelling.
I like music. I love music that tells stories.
And I'm just trying to put good energy back into the world. So yeah, that's my point thought. It's really good there.
Yeah.
Almost Christmas.
Almost Christmas. Yeah. Going back to the Nas reference a minute ago. Hit a line that was basically said you thought you were listening to a rap album. It's the audio book.
Right. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You just telling stories.
Telling stories.
Which is what we try to do pretty much,
Exactly.
right?
We are.
We
We're
talk
telling the
about
story
telling
of the
the story.
Panthers and the Hornets and the Charlotte area in general.
Yeah, so stay tuned. Hey, if y'all haven't already, be sure to subscribe and listen to us. So you can find us obviously on YouTube. We're getting that technology set up. We'll be on the podcast. We'll be dropping podcasts weekly here pretty soon too. But we do this because we love it. We enjoy it. Yeah, it's an opportunity for two friends to get together and eat lunch and drink beer during the middle of the day and talk about sports and record it and we'll tell our wives
It's a
that.
good excuse.
So it is a good excuse.
It's a really
though,
good excuse.
So who don't want that?
Right.
You got some Good Days merchandise as well. So you got
For sure.
we got the CLT Life
Hoodies and tees.
Hoodies and tees.
Hit me
Yes,
up.
here. Got some hats on there pretty soon. So, all right. Well, thanks y'all for watching. We'll be back again next week.
There it is.
All right. We'll see you then. All right.
Peace.
Peace. Later.